What you want? It better be no filter, news and talk. It better be no filter, news and talk. It better be no filter, news and talk. It better.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to No Filter News and Talk, and it's your girl Ingrid. And before I show the video of the interview with Brittany Bowen and the community activist Quanell X, I want to give my thoughts on a few things. Like, I watched a few videos of her and to hear her side, basically, of the story, and my thoughts are the same. Like, I am not moved by her story. I'm not moved by her tears. It's like, you failed your daughter. You failed your daughter, and there's no telling what else went on with the other children. You failed your daughter on numerous occasions. And I'm like, were you never in contact with the daycare? Were you know, it's stuff like that. Were you never in contact? So they mentioned things about her going to school and working. And so I assume he just been at home chilling. Because if he was supposed to drop the daughter off at daycare, then he'd sometime turn around and take her back to the apartment. Then of course he wasn't working. Is what is in my mind. He wasn't working. He probably was doing everything. He probably had now become the mother, or the mother played the mother role. He probably was there chilling. He probably had the kids all the time. He probably took them to and from, back and forth to school and to the daycare or whatever. He probably fed them. He probably did everything while she went to work and did whatever she had to do. I'm like, so, but if that's how you raise if that's how you run your household, that's you. That's not for me to judge, but you still got to ask them questions. And who was giving little Maleah a bath? You said that you would get into it with him from time to time about taking Maleah a bath. I think that's a lie. No, you didn't. He did everything and you allowed it, because he was taking care of the children while you went out and you worked and you went to school. And that was okay with you because that extra stress is off of you. Okay, you come home, the house is clean, everything is done, you know. But you never thought about to check the daycare and to ask your baby questions and to give your baby a bath and to, you 100% trusted this man. You trusted him. You loved him. You trusted his man. See, life should have you busy, but life shouldn't have you blinded. You failed your child on numerous occasions. And I get it. You wanted to be in love. You wanted to be married and all that, but now Maleah is gone. But let's get into the interview.
Again, we thank you for your patience. We thank you for coming by. I know how difficult this is. I'd asked you earlier about Maleah's birthday, February 6th. Tell me about the day she was born.
The day she was born, I had to have a C-section with her, and I just remember being in the hospital by myself.
Other family members not there, or wow. Do you remember holding her for the first time?
Absolutely.
And what was that like?
Just the feeling was amazing because I've always wanted a little girl. I've always wanted a little girl, and to know that I finally had her, it meant everything to me.
Tell me about Maleah.
Maleah, she was friendly. I mean, she would go up to anybody. I mean, anybody on the street, she would, hey, hi, she would always speak. And a beautiful little girl, she loved to play, with the kids, and she was just a normal child. She played with her brothers. She got along with them. She loved being a big sister to Cortland, and she was very helpful.
Did she have a favorite color, favorite doll, favorite cartoon?
Well, her favorite color was pink. She wasn't a doll person. She would play with cars, if anything. she loved cars. But her favorite cartoon character was Rainbow Dash. And she used to watch My Little Pony all the time. She wouldn't want to watch anything else. And I remember she used to tell me how Rainbow Dash was her best friend.
Really? I have a daughter, and My Little Pony was her favorite when she was that age. The world has been touched by this story. There's been an outpouring of support and great interest and concern. Why do you think that is?
Honestly, I'm not sure why, but I know this kind of spirit Maleah had. It was beautiful. And when I took those pictures, that's exactly what I captured, her spirit. You can tell. It's like you look at something, you look at her and it's like you just know what kind of person she was. You can feel that spiritually.
Mm-hmm. Everybody has seen this photograph. There's something about the gap in the tooth, the floppy hair, that everybody, it just grabs them. It is an adorable picture. Did you take this picture?
I did.
How old was she when you took that picture?
3.
She was 3. And where were you?
In Galveston.
Was
Jamaica Beach.
Jamaica Beach. Did she like the beach?
She loved the beach. As a matter of fact, before all of this, I was just talking about bringing her back. We were supposed to go back.
Brittany, I know this has been a tough time. Your dad passed away last month. Now your daughter is missing. How are you coping?
By the grace of God. I'm coping by the grace of God because honestly, I've been praying to keep my peace, to keep my mind.
Are you able to get any sleep? Do you have an appetite?
It's hard, and I've been trying to eat. It's hard. It's hard to sleep. It's like my mind and my spirit can't rest. I can't focus. I can't concentrate on anything. I can't even recall things from the day before. It's hard. Nobody can tell you how to be in a situation like this. I've never been in a situation like this. It's devastating for me. And all I do is pray. That's all I can do. And just give it to God because this situation is, I can't control this. I can't control this. There's nothing I can do.
Ever since your daughter was announced missing, there have been stories every day. Do you watch the stories?
No. I can't. I don't watch TV. I don't watch the news.
Social media?
No.
Too painful.
It is. It is. My friends, they do, but I don't.
How's your mom doing? She spoke the first time we heard from you. I remember her speaking at the news conference.
I haven't talked to her.
Really? Why is that?
I don't know. It's like ever since, I don't know, she doesn't want to be in the media. And I'm okay with that.
I see. But there's something going on between you two where you're not talking, which seems surprising given what you're going through. You'd want to talk to your mom.
I want to talk to mom. It's too much for her.
Let's go back to the beginning of this story. You left town to go to your dad's memorial service. It's been reported you had an argument with Darian Vence before you left town. What was that about?
I'll speak to that.
Okay.
I'll speak to that. They were having some relationship issues because she discovered that there was issues of infidelity and that he had been entertaining others in a very inappropriate manner when you're in a committed relationship to someone else. And so she didn't confront him about that until she was already gone at the airport.
So at the airport, did you call him and talk to him about this? Or he took you to the airport?
No, my friend took me to the airport.
And did you call him?
No, I texted him.
What did you say?
Those text messages have been given to authorities. And so we don't want to rehash that right now because all of that's going to come out in a trial someday soon. But all of that exchange between the two of them about the infidelity, the inappropriate pictures of a sexual nature that she had discovered him sending to someone else, that's going to come out. But all of that was provided after I got involved to investigators that they needed to see those things. Because to me, I believe it spoke to motive, in my opinion, based on what we have learned and what we discovered and what we saw. Those pictures had the potential to expose a hidden secret of his about his sexuality. And once she confronted him with that while being at the airport, you know, I believe that speaks to the motive behind this entire tragedy of Maleah being missing.
So Brittany, let me ask you, when you confronted him by text, how did he respond?
He responded in text messages also.
But
he kept calling and she wouldn't answer.
I see. So was he angry? Upset?
Upset, not
Upset.
not angry.
Not angry, but upset that she would not respond and she wouldn't communicate with him.
Were you comfortable leaving town with your children with Darian Vence?
Yes, because in my mind, whatever we had going on had nothing to do with the children.
When you came back, we heard the story from Darian about a kidnapping. He was attacked. He and one of the other children were left alone. He goes to the hospital the next day. The story, quite frankly, sounded so far-fetched. A lot of people did not believe it. Did you believe it?
I wanted to believe it.
Why?
Believing that story is, I mean, I would rather hear that somebody took my child than to know that somebody that I had a home with could have possibly did something.
And I think it cheapens the truth to even call it a story. What we all were told was nothing more than a concocted lie to cover up the real circumstances of the disappearance of Maleah. So I don't think that we should give him the benefit of the doubt or even the dignity to call what he said a story. It's a lie.
When you got back, he explains what happens. What else did he tell you?
When
What-
I saw him, when
When you got home?
when I got home that
Yes.
Sunday,
Yes.
he never really said anything to me. He just kept saying, "I'm sorry.
He said he was sorry.
I'm sorry."
Did he
I
have-
tried to protect her. That's all he told me. He didn't really tell me much. The same things that I heard going around this, he didn't tell me anything.
So, did you have suspicions about, did you have a bad feeling?
It was always in the back of my mind, yes,
What was in the back of your mind?
that something could have possibly happened.
And that maybe he was involved?
Possibly.
Did you notice anything different about the apartment?
No.
Nothing seemed
It
out
was
of place? Nothing?
everything was cleaned, everything was put away, but that's normal. That's how we clean, you know, and I didn't realize that the basket was gone until I heard about it, until I spoke with the detectives. And when I went home and I noticed the basket was gone, and I don't know, I don't know. I know that my mother had done laundry on the 1st and he picked it up. Maybe it was there, I don't know. You know,
You came back May 3rd, I believe. So, how much longer was Darian there? Because at some point, police couldn't find him. Was he there for another 2 days, another 3 days? Do you remember?
I don't understand that question.
My question is, at some point, police said they tried to find him. So at some point, he obviously left the apartment. Was it after you'd been home for 2 or 3 days?
When they first released him on that Sunday, I'm sorry.
Before he was even arrested. I'm
Before
talking
he
about.
was, okay, on the
Yeah.
3rd. No, he was supposed to be picking me up on the 3rd,
Right.
and he never showed up. I waited for him for 2 hours.
Who picked you up at the airport?
My mother.
And what did she tell you? Did she give you a reason why he wasn't there?
No, but she told me that if he were to make it there, then just to ride with him.
I see. But he never made it.
But he never made it.
Did you go to your apartment that night?
I sure did.
And was he there?
No, the car wasn't there. Nobody was answering the door, and the light was still on in the dining area.
So when did you see him?
I seen him Sunday.
Okay, so that was the next day.
The 3rd was Friday.
Okay.
Yeah. And then we filed the missing persons report that Saturday.
Okay.
He didn't come into the hospital until later on that night.
That night.
And the police didn't release him until that Sunday.
Did you go to the hospital to see him?
We got a phone call. I received a phone call. His brother received a phone call, and my mom received a phone call saying that they were there. And so we all went there, and there were a lot of police officers.
Uh-huh. Did you have a chance to talk to him then?
No, they wouldn't let us.
They wouldn't let you talk to him?
No.
Did he ever come back to the apartment after that?
No.
Where did he go?
He went on Sunday. He came back to my mother's house.
To your mother's house?
Yes.
So why did he not come back to the apartment with you?
I didn't go to the apartment.
Oh, okay. So
I went back to with my mother. I didn't.
So you were both staying with your mom at
Yeah.
a certain point? Okay.
A part that's left out here. She did go to the apartment. Straight from the airport, went to the apartment when he didn't pick her up. Wouldn't answer the phone. She could get no communication with him. So she went to the apartment, saw the light was on in the apartment. She's banging on the door, went around to the patio door, banging on that door, thinking maybe they had car problems or something and they may be in there.
Right.
Nobody answers.
Nobody answered.
So she goes back with her mom.
Did you not have a key?
No,
No,
he had the key.
They had a spare key in the house, and he had the key on the car keys.
I see. At what point did you become suspicious of Darian, that maybe he had something to do with Maleah's disappearance?
When he started hiding from me.
Hiding, like just wouldn't come home?
Just, no, when my suspicion grew Monday after he had been released. And he did not want to talk. His family wouldn't let me talk to him for whatever reason.
So then you were suspicious?
Yeah.
This is a man you loved. This is a man you had a child with. Did you think he was ever capable of doing any harm to any of your children?
No.
Never
because
thought that?
that's not what I seen.
To think what this man has done in this case is to see this man as a monster. And she didn't see anything living with him that suggested he was capable of something of this magnitude. Even at his worst state, that he would do something like this. And so this has been a traumatic, shocking experience for her about a lot of this. You got to understand a lot of these things that have been coming out now. When I sat with Brittany and told her that the things we had learned and discovered, the things that my organizational brothers who were out there speaking to tons of people, I was speaking to the stepdad's family, and the things that we had extracted and pulled. When I brought these things to her, you know, she was just like shocked. Well, how do you know that? She was like, yeah, that's true. Well, how did you find out that? And I explained to her we had been diligently working on the case.
So what did Darian Vence's family tell you about him? What secrets?
I have to be careful because I know that this is going to be in a trial at some point. But what I got from them was their sole concern was the protection of him, not the whereabouts of Maleah. Their sole concerns was not to get him to help us find Maleah, but it was protecting him. And I said to them, I said, listen, what kind of man is kidnapped? A child that he loves, his stepchild, taken from him. He won't return phone calls. He's participated in no searches, won't speak to searches, hiding from police officers, won't speak to the mother. I said everything he's doing indicates he's guilty of something and that the story is a lie. And so their concern was to protect their loved one. Their first priority was not where is Maleah at all.
Brittany, have you ever been afraid of Darian Vence?
No.
Has he ever harmed you in any way?
No.
Verbally abusive?
No.
Physically abusive?
No.
The police have talked about the evidence in the apartment. Bleach, blood in the apartment, linked to Maleah. Everything seems to point to this man harming your daughter. Have you grasped that reality?
Still processing. I'm still processing that. It's hard for me to think about.
So, I want to ask you something, because you have brought this up in interviews, and this is a touchy subject. You have said in interviews that there was abuse in the home and Brittany was afraid to reveal it because she was afraid. You have put that out there.
Let me say this to you. My number one obligation is not to the stepfather, it's not to Brittany. My number one obligation is to that beautiful child right there, Maleah. Justice for her is the priority. Where she is the priority. Everybody else are adults. They have to stand on their own 2 feet and answer for whatever they've done. But that child is the priority. And let me be straight with you. This man has to answer. He has to answer for what happened before she came up missing. He has to answer for that. Because there's a lot more here. This mother had no idea that this child was leaving the house with him in the morning. He's saying, I'm taking the child to daycare. But only later to learn from the investigation from both HPD and us that he was bringing the child back home sometimes with him. What is your purpose to tell this mother while she's going to class or she's going to work, Maleah's at daycare, yeah, I took her to school, but come to find out she's at home with you? Why would you lie and say she's at daycare, but have her in the house with you? The very day that she went to the airport, picked up by her friend, she leaves out the house believing Maleah is at the daycare and didn't even know he had snuck her back in the house as she walking out the door. What you doing, brother? What are you doing to this child?
Are you saying there was abuse?
Hell yeah, I'm saying there's abuse. And there's a whole lot more.
And you're saying...
But let me say this.
And you're saying that Brittany was not aware.
Let me say this.
I want to be clear.
She was not aware of a lot that was going on.
You were not aware.
But one thing I'm going to do, because right now the priority is still finding Maleah. I'm going to say a lot more before it's over. And I'm going to point directly to the facts of it. But I want to first find Maleah.
We can all understand that. Brittany, you've been talking to police, I understand. How often do you talk to them?
Every other day.
Every other day?
Whenever they have an update.
Have they given you information, new information?
No.
Any new details?
No, I've asked.
Are they still questioning you about Darian Vence?
They'll ask me questions about information, like his card information or accounts and stuff like that.
Credit card? Okay. So you talk to police every other day. You're still talking to them?
Of course.
Have you talked to Darian Vence since he was arrested?
No.
Has he tried to reach out to you?
No.
Do you plan to visit him?
No.
You're done?
Yes.
Darian was arrested, I believe, at his brother's house. Have you talked to his brother?
Next question.
Have you talked to any of his family members?
We have spoken to the brother. Yes.
Both of you? And
that's how he was really arrested. But we'll talk about that more. But we have talked with the brother, and that's actually what helped play a role in getting him arrested.
Can you say what was said?
No, not right now. But I do believe for a fact they were helping him hide out. And I do believe that a few of them know a whole lot more of what really went down with Maleah than what they've said.
Brittany, I know this is a tough question, but I have to ask. You've been vilified in social media. You've been followed. You've been harassed. People think you are partly to blame for what happened. What do you say to those people?
People are entitled to their own opinions. I remember looking at situations and being on the outside looking in, doing exactly what they're doing to me. I know my truth. And I love my child. And can nobody take that from me? No matter how they feel. I'm not perfect, and I'm not going to sit here and act like I am, and nobody is. How dare you?
The family of Maleah's father, the Davis family, says you knew what was going on in the home and you failed to protect your daughter.
Move on from that. Don't answer that. Move on from that.
You can't answer that.
No, that goes into CPS. Move on from that.
We got a lot of questions on Facebook from viewers. People wanted to know, why did you leave your kids with Darian Vence when you went to your father's memorial?
I didn't pay for my ticket.
So
My aunt did.
So you're saying you couldn't afford to take them with you?
Exactly.
Could you not have placed them with other family members? Your mother, an aunt?
My aunt doesn't live here.
What about the Davis family?
The Davis family, Peyton went. Maleah could have went too.
And why didn't she?
They should have asked for her. I didn't even know that they wanted to come get paid. They told me last minute.
So when you left, you had no concern that Vence could or would harm your child?
No.
And you also got to understand, she's dealing with the death of her father. She's dealing with trying to get out of town to get to the services for her father. She's dealing with the stress of all of them trying to raise funds from here to Massachusetts to take care of the services of her father, because that was a test for the family to get the father buried. So she's going through all of that, and hindsight is 20/20. I guarantee you, had she known some of the things that we've later learned, I don't believe this mother would have left that child with him one split second. But a lot of what was going on, she didn't know.
Your other children are no longer in your care. Do you think that's fair to you?
No.
Are you able to talk to them?
No.
Can't even visit them? Do your other children know that Maleah is missing?
I don't know.
They're staying with other family members, correct?
Yeah.
And you're not allowed to visit them?
I can't talk about this. This is all
Yeah, this
CPS
is CPS
related.
stuff,
I don't,
right.
please, I don't
Yeah,
want to talk
this is-
about that.
Yeah. But she's had no contact.
All that is CPS
Yeah,
related.
she's had no contact.
Just a couple more questions. Volunteers have been out looking for your daughter. It doesn't look good. They've come up with nothing. Have you accepted the possibility that Maleah is no longer alive?
Let's move on to the next question, man.
I know it's tough, but that is something you have to live with every day. I'm sure you have thought about this.
I have thought about it. I don't want to accept it.
You don't want to accept it. I think every parent in America would agree with you. We all hope that she is found and that she's okay. But she may not be.
She may not.
What's next for you?
So future.
I haven't thought about it.
Are you working? Are you able to work? Are you?
You know, everything for her right now is just stuck on where's Maleah. You know, it's kind of hard to talk about where you go from here when she's yet to have closure about where's Maleah. And until she gets that closure, and until she gets that closure in her life, in her mind, in her heart, about what actually happened to her daughter and where her daughter is, there's never really closure. I think the only thing she can do at that point is survive. And that's what she's doing right now, just surviving, hoping to get some answers about where Maleah is.
Brittany, I thank you for your time.